Welcome to Channel U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra sparked controversy this week when he expressed disappointment that Canadians lack passion for their relationship with the United States. At first glance, his remarks may sound like a call for closer ties, but look deeper and the hypocrisy is clear. If Canadians today feel more distant from America, the blame doesn't lie with Canada. It lies with Donald Trump, Pete Hoekstra, and the reckless agenda they pursued at U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra made headlines this week when he lamented that Canadians aren't passionate about their relationship with the United States. On the surface, it sounded like a plea for friendship, but peel back the layers, and it was something else entirely. Hypocrisy. If Canadians today feel distant from America, the fault doesn't lie with Canada. It lies with Donald Trump, Pete Hoekstra, and the reckless agenda they pursued. For years, Washington attacked Canadian sovereignty. They launched the biggest trade war in modern history against their closest ally. They mocked Canadian leadership. Trump even belittled former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau by calling him a governor, as if Canada were just another U.S. state. After years of insults, tariffs, and hostility, they now have the audacity to say Canadians aren't passionate enough. This isn't disappointment. This is defeat. Let's start with what Hoekstra actually said. Speaking at a public forum, he admitted that Canadian businesses still value the U.S. relationship, but ordinary citizens? They're indifferent, skeptical, cold. To him, that's disappointing. But here's the truth. Canadians didn't wake up one morning and stop caring. The passion faded because Washington chose to weaponize tariffs, insult our leaders, and treat Canada not as a partner, but as a pawn. The rift didn't start with Hoekstra's comments. It began with Trump's open assault on Canadian sovereignty. He belittled our independence, dismissed our democracy, and reduced our prime minister to a provincial figure. For Canadians, that cut deep. We are a sovereign nation, not America's backyard. Then came the trade war, tariffs on steel, aluminum, autos, punishing Canadian workers and farmers in the name of national security, as if Canadian steel was a threat to America. Families paid the price, businesses suffered, and Canadians saw their so-called ally treating them like an adversary. That's when the trust evaporated. So when Hoekstra complains about fading passion, he forgets the obvious. Passion dies when trust is broken, and Washington broke it. The hypocrisy is staggering. After years of insults and economic warfare, they now suggest Canadians are ungrateful. But Canadians see clearly. The passion didn't vanish on its own. Washington killed it. And this is where Mark Carney enters the story. Canada could have buckled under Trump's pressure. Instead, Carney charted a new course, diversifying trade, forging deals with Europe and Asia, and making sure Canada was no longer held hostage by America's tantrums. Under his leadership, Canada grew stronger, more independent, more respected. That strength is what frustrates Washington today. Hoekstra's frustration isn't about passion, it's about power. For decades, U.S. diplomats assumed Canada would always follow. But Carney has flipped the script. Canada now stands tall, building global partnerships, no longer desperate for American approval. So let's be clear, Canadians aren't ungrateful. We aren't cold. We aren't unpassionate. We are realistic. We remember the sovereignty attacks, the tariffs, the insults, and we've moved on. Pete Hoekstra's words don't reveal a Canadian failure. They reveal an American decline. And if Washington doesn't like the distance in this relationship, they have only themselves to blame. This isn't disappointment. This is defeat. And here at Canada Today, we'll keep telling the story of how Canada is rising and why leaders like Mark Carney are ensuring this country never bows to American hypocrisy again.